Would please. Okay, the only change to our agenda is that Chantel has been removed from today's business.
Chantel has been?
No, Chantel, look at you and Shanta.
See you, Chantel. Okay, thanks for coming.
I'm sorry.
Love you, goodbye.
You look and you read different.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we accept the amended agenda as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, Chantel, I apologize. You're
Oh, no worries. Chantel Laulu with Indigent Services. The case that I have for you today is case number 2023-0009. It's an application for cremation expenses submitted by Cord Nielsen Funeral Home in the amount of $1,200. With the information that we were able to obtain, the deceased is a 66-year-old male. He is a Bannock County resident, was not a veteran. It does appear that the deceased meets all criteria to be eligible for assistance through our program. Bannock County is the last resource for payment of these final expenses, and there is no responsible party available for reimbursement of this request at this time. Our recommendation is an approval of this request.
okay.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve request 2023-0009 as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Now we've moved on to
You gentlemen.
Mayor England.
That's well, good. Listen, I'm grateful to be here with you, commissioners. Thankful for the opportunity just to take a minute and chat with you. I don't have a lot. I'll present the little bit I do, and
Braden, move that mic over.
or I could move over there. How's that?
Okay, move to the center.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sometimes I forget that some of these have to be recorded, and I want to make sure it's done right. Very good. I suppose the first thing I'd like to do is just to welcome Commissioner Crowder. Grateful that he got elected. He's here. Congratulations to Commissioner Huff and Jason Dixon on their re-elections. And I know that's maybe a little late, but this has been my first opportunity to get in front of you and express that. I can say absolutely honestly that I'm excited for the opportunity to work with this group. I have experience with all of you, and it's all been positive experience, and I'm grateful for that. I see good things. I just want to commend you for what I have witnessed as transparency and inclusiveness. I know we get hounded on that a lot as elected officials, but I think as I've watched this group work, and I'm sure Commissioner Crowder will be a welcome addition to this, been wide open to the process of we want the community to know what we're about, what we're doing. We want you to be part of it. And again, I expressed last time I was here, as I've watched you reach out to South County, that's been a lip service thing for years, but I've seen actual things happen there. Express that we feel that things are good happen here. The only one thing that I will say, and I hadn't thought about saying this, but as the mayor of Chubbuck, we really do need to get an ambulance out there as soon as we can. I recognize your limitations, and I recognize the challenge of servicing an entire county. We don't see all that you see, and believe me, if nothing else has taught me over the last 13 years, elected officials get the opportunity to see things that the general public doesn't see, and your decisions are based on that. And so I want you to know that I am accepting and supportive of what you do. Just grateful for that. Let me start by just sharing a bit of a funny one with you. It's I don't know how many of you were at the State of the City out with Ryan and I, but I told a couple of funnies out there. I just want to share one with you because I thought it was awfully cute. Many years ago, had to be many years ago, this was back when we had phones on our desks and hanging from the wall. I'm sure each of you remember that process. Mountain Bell started getting calls one Friday morning, people saying, is it okay for us to take our phones out of the bag? And the person that was taking the calls thought, well, when they sent you a phone, if you ordered a phone through Mountain Bell and they sent it to you, it came in a box and in a bag. And so that was just kind of an assumption of, well, is there a process for that? Sure, go ahead. The third call they got on that, she stopped and she said, well, why are you asking? I said, well, we got an official mailing from you last Friday that said that you were going to be flushing the phone lines today and that we were given a bag and a twist tie and we needed to make sure and have that in there so we didn't get water in our homes. It was an April Fool's joke. And somebody had gone through this particular neighborhood. They'd got an official Mountain Bell stationery and put this out. And folks many had put their phones in bags and twist tied them, but there wasn't instruction on when it was safe to take them out. So make sure you let us know when you're flushing the lines, will you?
I know a few people that take April Fools that serious that would do something like that.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Some of them might even be in this our building.
I've had the opportunity to be on both sides of some pretty good April Fool's jokes. And if they're going to be done right, they usually take some pretty good planning, too. First, just to let you know, I think most of you are aware of these changes, but I want to make sure and speak of them. Tom Holmes retired. What a challenge that created for the city. Tom has been with the city of Chubbuck for decades. He was just a mountain of wisdom and knowledge and instruction, and we miss him, no doubt about it. Matter of fact, we had a call on him last week to kind of pick his brain about some things. So even though he's been retired for a year, he's kind enough to still work with us. But we wish him the very best. But in that, we appointed our council president, Ryan Lewis, as our new city attorney. And we are grateful to have Ryan. Ryan already came with a lot of knowledge of the city because he'd been on the council for a couple of terms. And so he's an excellent attorney, so he's going to do us well. But that created another challenge. We had to replace him on the council, and we replaced him with Norman Reese. He's also an attorney out in the Chubbuck area, and he has been serving very well. And that has created an interesting dynamic for the city. This coming November, there will be 3 council seats rather than 2. 3/4 of our council will be up for election. The Reese seat will be up for a 2-year term, and the other 2 for 4-year terms. And it's interesting because I've heard quite a bit from the community over this last few weeks. There's some pretty good interest in trying to run. And you know, my experience with that is, if you have a desire to run, you should. And it really isn't about winning. You know, it's matter of fact, sometimes you wonder what you did when you get on the other side and the hook's still in. You didn't get it spit. But it's a great opportunity to be part of the public discourse and public discussion. That's, to me, what elections are about. They're not about the meanness we see sometimes. I'm saddened to see that that's come somewhat into our community. It's not bad. It's not over the top, and it's not what we see in statewide and especially federal elections. But there's still a little bit of it, and I just wish people would stand back and say, this isn't the time to nitpick. This isn't the time to point out everything that's wrong. This is a time to say, this is who I am. This is what I'd like to see happen. And again, be part of that public discussion. As all of you are very aware, the Allstate building has sold. Allstate, I see this as a win-win for our community, our whole area. Allstate is still staying here. They're still hiring. All of their people are just working from home, so they don't need that building. And the second part of that win is School District 25 has bought that building with the intention of developing a vocational high school, which will be absolutely fantastic. Because as they came and talked to us about that while they were making that decision, expressed what they wanted to do and wanted to get our support on it. We were totally supportive, but I remember them talking how excited they were that the kitchen that was in there, because one of the things they'll teach is culinary arts, and with just a few additions, that's going to be ready to fly immediately. So good for our community. Olive Garden will open Monday, according to what I've been told. I haven't seen anything different, so I'm a little surprised we haven't seen anything from them. I would think they'd be putting up bells and whistles, but they've been a little funny that way. But whether it's this Monday or in the near future, they'll be opening. And I became aware shortly after being elected 13 years ago that the trifecta for any of us would be to get a Hobby Lobby, an Olive Garden, and a Target. We got 2 out of 3, so I told them we have our marching orders for 2023. We'll see. We'll put a target on Target. So, but we're grateful to have them in our community. Construction. What a mess construction is right now. Any of you having anything to do with construction? Our new animal control facility was supposed to open last February. And our new Chubbuck Police Station was supposed to happen last August. They extended About the first part of August, they got a hold of us extended to November. In November, they asked to extend till January. I met with them last week, and they've asked to extend till May. That's going to make one of them 14 months past due and the other 9 months past due. As I sat and talked with them, I told them, I said, we can't change the past, and I was in construction my whole life, so I totally understand the processes. I don't understand the great challenge construction has today, because I never saw that. Trying to get materials on the job and then to get people to do something with those materials has just become a nightmare. I was enough involved to know that once they did become behind for whatever reason, you put out a construction schedule at the front of a project and you give it to all of your subcontractors, and so they plan that into their schedule. And when that day hits and you're not ready for them, you go to the bottom of the list. And so you've created a domino thing that creates what we're seeing now. I just expressed to them, we're not going to kick you about yesterday. Yesterday is that, and we have watched it. We see what's happened. I'm concerned about tomorrow. We need to be open in May. And if we don't do something today to make sure that's going to happen, you're going to ask for another extension. And that we'll probably start talking liquidated damages at that point. So I'm tickled about that, but we're looking forward to those two things opening. They'll be a great benefit. Any of you who have been aware at all, our police station, our police worked out of a little cubby hole for years and years and years. This has been needed in our community as long as I can remember. It's just going to bring great blessings. So we're glad that it's coming. Our 1992 Urban Renewal District retires this year. We're grateful to have worked with you. I remember, I can't say her name. Where is she?
Moline.
Pardon?
Moline.
Yes. She came to me probably 2 weeks after I was elected mayor, and she said, you know that would never happen again. I said, I'm absolutely aware of that. And let me express my feelings about that. The 1992 plan that was pushed by Mayor Cotant, it was a brand new thing for really this whole area, but particularly for Chubbuck. They didn't know what it was, and they were doing their best, and that's what everybody understands that. Nobody went in there trying to do something they shouldn't do. Nobody when they're trying to get away with anything. But it's a project that took in most of Chubbuck. It just did. As a matter of fact, it had to be adjusted shortly after it got started because they'd taken in too much. They had so much that it was beyond the percentages that were allowed, so they had to readjust it for that. But just let me say, in the last 30 years, that has served the city well. We recognize that it's a unique baby. It's probably a good one to be putting to bed, to tell you the truth. But it truly has served our community well. And we're grateful for everybody who's worked with that plan and allowed it to do what it needed to. I'm just guessing without some cooperation, people from the county and maybe even the other taxing districts who are concerned here could have made trouble and said, we need to do something about that. And they were pretty much willing to work. So we're grateful for that. But again, it retires this year, and we're grateful to put it to bed. We have really worked our zoning and land use board this year. We recognize that there are some zoning ordinances and such that are ancient. I mean, ancient might not be the right word, but they're inadequate for what we have today. And with Devin Hillam being kind of a pusher for this and being very talented in what he's doing, he's helped us make a lot of change, but that's required our planning, our zoning and planning committee to work hard. A lot of change, and it has to start there. We also asked them to be our impact fee committee, and so they've put in I just want to express that the folks who were serving on that committee for us this year have just gone above and beyond and really done things that have really blessed our community, and I'm grateful for them. I think if I've heard one thing over the last year, more than anything else, it's Chubbuck has got to quit building so many apartment complexes. And I say Chubbuck isn't building any apartment complexes. The landowners are. And guess what? They're building what the market will bear. They wouldn't be building them if they didn't know the market was going to bear them. And they'd be building otherwise if they could. But I've been glad to be able to say, you know, our residential, just single home residence, has maintained its historical growth. It hasn't gone down. So we still have that happening. So I see it as an additional blessing. It will be different. It's different. A lot of people say, oh, you're just going to have a bunch of old, run-down, dilapidated things in the future. Not necessarily. If it's looked at and used appropriately, it will serve a community. I can't imagine being a brand new married person trying to buy a home right now. That'd be a very difficult thing. So again, it provides for the needs that are there, and I'm grateful for that. I had the opportunity last year to serve as the president of the Association of Idaho Cities, and that was a big eye-opener for me. I had the opportunity to do a lot of different things with that throughout the state and see how things are running. I will say after a year of doing that, I have great confidence in this state because we have great leaders at the local level. People who are really concerned and are actively doing the very best that they can. Are we perfect? No. Do we make mistakes? Absolutely. We're human. But every one of them that I had anything to do with at all, their attitudes are correct. They have a desire to do good for their community, and they recognize that their time is limited. I think as long as those of us who are elected officials recognize this, we have a little window of time that we can make a difference in our community. Just look at it that way and work at it that way, we'll do fine. A couple quick things. I think you're all as excited as I am as the water reports, and then to see this year start out with a lot of moisture coming from the ground. Our area is at 169% as of January 1st. With the drought we had during the last year, that still hasn't, our reservoirs are still somewhat waning, but if this continues, our water that we are needed is going to do great. We've set some wonderful goals at the city, and I'll just tell you the basic ones. That each one have a subset of goals that I could talk for the next hour about. I won't bore you with this. Our main goals during this year are to work on being a safe city, a prosperous city, a healthy city, a clean city, and to have content citizens. And believe me, with the subcategories of each one of those, that's enough to keep us busy for at least a year. This is one program I just wanted to mention to you. I'm tickled to death that we're doing this. This is called an Adopt a Park program. We've recognized the needs in our parks. We recognize that we have one of two options. We can either hire a bunch more people and take care of the parks, therefore increase the tax base and increase the burden on the people, or we can go to the people and say, hey, what are your thoughts? Can you help us out here? Do you want to adopt a park? Do you want to come in? And we intend to do some things to recognize them and to work with them and to help it happen. Be interested to see how that works. I'm anxious in the future to be able to report back to you how that went, because I think it's going to be great.
How do you do that? I mean, is it like the Adopt a Highway?
Very similar, very similar. Our community services folks have been working with us. They've got a plan, and we're going to, again, I think it's on, if it isn't on the website yet, it will be soon. And the concept, there's a real process for getting the folks who want to, having them apply, letting them understand what it requires of them and what we'll expect back, and then an acknowledgement. So I've looked at the program. I think it's going to work fantastically. We worked with this for most of last year. It was early last year as I was sitting with my parks folks. Those of you who aren't aware of what happened, our parks director got cancer, Billy Gwynn, and he's since passed away. Great guy, fantastic. I loved him. He was so great to work with. But when he left, we put him on leave, obviously. We were hoping he could come back. During the time that he was away, we lost two of our other parks folks to INL. And so when our time came around last year for getting ready to take care of our properties, we had one person at the Parks Department. A couple of our folks stepped up and said, hey, we'll step in there and give it some leadership, but that just wasn't enough. And so I changed direction with our parks, actually, and got some new people involved. And my instruction to them last year was, we're going to have a bad year this year. Get ready, your phones are going to ring. We're going to have a lot of weeds. We're probably not going to have the mowing done right. I'm ready for this. It's going to happen. It's going to take us at least another month to two to get people on board, and then a month or two after that to make sure they're trained and know what they're doing. So we're going to go through the pre-emergent season without putting down pre-emergent. It's going to cause a lot of weeds. It's just going to be a mess. And I said we need to accept that. But also during this next year, I want a plan in place that next year we come out of the box running. And that's what we've been planning for all year, and we're ready to do that. I will say this, as I talked to the mayors up and down our corridor, they said, you dodged a bullet, Mayor. I said, what do you mean? You didn't spend money on pre-emergent. We did. We put it on 3 times, and it washed off every time we put it on, and you didn't have any more weeds than the rest of us. So we got a little fortunate that way. But again, we recognize there's a need. Heard a lot from the community. Most were accepting when we had the explanation for them. A few said, well, you always have a good excuse. And you know you're always going to have those. And it's always good to have a good excuse in your back pocket from time to time. Sometimes you need them. Last thing, our city is in great financial shape. We had a clean audit again this year, and we have a AAA rating. That's been the case as long as I've been involved and as long as I can remember. We work hard on having a conservative budget. We work hard on staying within that conservative budget. Our auditors are always complimentary about our processes and procedures. So we think Chubbuck's in a very good place, and we're just grateful to work with you. So do you have any questions for me?
Questions?
No, I think this is a great report. Thank you, Mayor.
You betcha. Appreciate you.
Well, we went through the same thing with our only park that you did. We lost our entire staff, stuck somebody up there that was our chief of staff here. But I think that our adjoining park there is in pretty good shape now.
Well, and we depend so much on our staff, and people need to understand that. We're elected officials, and we get the limelight, and we get a lot of times the brunt of the blame and all that, but we aren't responsible for most of it, other than making sure the right people are in place. If we have the right people in the right positions, we're gonna do fine, and so.
Can't argue with that.
So when you get short-staffed, you know that's a problem. Alrighty. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Appreciate you. Have a great day.
You too. And the other deal, before you leave, Mayor,
Yes, I'm sorry.
we had some meetings out in the city hall.
Yes.
But we appreciated you allowing us to do that. Our people have used that training and stuff already in different departments, so.
And you're welcome there anytime. That was an intent. As a matter of fact, just quickly, my intent in building it, when we talked at first, when we were in the planning stage, I wanted this to be a community gathering place. When it got built, guess what happened? Insurance and attorneys got in the way. And they said, be careful about who you let use this. My idea was to just let people come and use it for family reunions, for, be a city hall citizen gathering place. Tom Holmes sat me down and he said, Mayor England, if you let the Girl Scouts in, you've got to let the Hell's Angels in. You cannot, you are a public entity and you can't discriminate if you let one in. So he said, you really need to make sure it's quasi-governmental use, and you get plenty of that, and we have. And so again, the reason I bring that up, we loved having you there, and you're welcome anytime.
Well, we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I think we've used that building just for clerks things, including elections, 7 or 8 times
Come
this
on down
year.
anytime.
Yeah.
Love to have you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
It's been good.
Yeah.
Good. Is Christina here?
She's sick today, so I can chat about those
Okay.
items that are on there.
All right, you're up.
So, Part A, this is the total expenditures for the Public Defense Commission grants, right? And they wanted us to include some additional information on that. So this is an addition to what you signed
Update?
a month ago. Yeah, this is just updated.
Okay. Any comments, questions?
No, that's pretty, she's talked about it a couple times, so.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we go ahead and approve and sign the indigent defense expenditure report as requested.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Additionally, in your packet, there is for Tyler Pace, Tyler Pace agreement that should be there. And this is for 12 days of training with Tyler. It includes 3 passes to the Tyler Connect software training. And this is budgeted as a capital expense, which she wants to request to move those monies into the Tyler training line from capital.
Okay.
It is a training expense, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So if they're going to do this contract, and if they do, the reason that they want to do this contract is it's cheaper per item, per pass, if they do the contract, and then she's going to actually cancel it after they do their training, so it doesn't auto-renew.
Okay. Have you been happy with Tyler?
Well, there's some things about it that are really, really good, and then the hardest part for, I think, those ladies down there is we implemented that during COVID, so we never had anyone here from Tyler. They learned everything via Zoom, which is a difficult way to learn. So I think they're getting there. It's a really robust program. Some of the reports aren't great, but they're still working with that guy in
Getting
Idaho
better.
Falls. They're getting better. They're figuring things out. So the way that it works with the courts is really, really nice. But we actually, in the last year with the change of personnel down there. We've actually just really started using that to its full capabilities in the last few months, so, yeah.
Questions?
Just like any software, you love it and hate it.
Motion?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the Tyler training request and the not allocation, what's the proper term there?
Transfer?
Transfer of funds from the Tyler capital account to the Tyler training account.
Yep.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This is just my signature.
And then can I take those two things straight down to auditing? So they can,
You ask a lot.
I know.
All right, next on our agenda, we have adopting county lease accounting policy and resolution number 2023-15, accepting extension of bond and development agreement with Rio Vista Development LLC.
May I see that one a second?
Which one?
The second one. I think this wording is wrong. I think it should be after subdivision, it should read, shall be extended to April 30, 2023. Instead of, look at how it reads there, it reads kind of funny.
Yeah, that doesn't read right.
Can we strike through that?
Says that we okayed it on that date. Not that that's what it needs to be.
So
But if they put this,
can we strike through and change that?
if they put this wording here like this, I think it
Yes.
would.
Use the part. So they extended this to April 30th?
Correct.
So we just need to change that verbiage in there. They can strike through that and put the correct,
Oh,
or,
or if you want to make a motion, I mean, we could strike through it and write in whatever you want with the resolution, but if you want to make a motion and change the language in the resolution to make sure it's clean, we can just go back and change whatever language it is, however you prefer it.
And then do the signature after we make the correction.
Yeah, you could even do a resolution saying, here's what we want changed, and then we can even make that change, and then you could sign it, and we wouldn't have to have another meeting on it, as long as we have a record of what's going on.
What happens. Okay.
You want me to write that in there?
Go ahead and make the, yeah.
Do I need to make a motion on this? or-
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we'll okay this resolution. So let's go ahead and do
The first one.
2023-14.
So while he's writing, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve resolution number 2023-14 as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor say aye.
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 Oh, I guess Jason needs to
Yep.
sign that, right?
Oh, Jason.
yep.
Okay, let's go ahead and make a motion on resolution 2023-15
Just to accept it with this change.
with,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept resolution 2023-15 with the changes indicated on the document.
Would you please read that for me, Joe?
Sure thing. So it's going to read now, therefore be it resolved that the time allowed for Rio Vista Development LLC to complete work on the Westfield Estates Division 4 subdivision shall be extended to April 30, 2023.
okay, we have a motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we don't need to sign this one because we'll redo one with the verbiage.
Right,
And-
yeah, since we have a record of what that language can be corrected to the language that the commission wants, and then the commission can just sign because you've already made a motion and accepted that language.
Okay, so we have a motion. All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. All right, next for signature only, have cancellations presented by the assessor. Had an opportunity to look them over. Call for a motion. Have questions?
Nope. Mr. Chair, make a motion that we approve the tax cancellation requests from the assessor as presented.
Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And for signature only, we have December 2022 Commissioners Proceedings.
Mr. Chair, make a motion that we approve the December 22 Commissioner proceedings as presented.
Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, in our consent agenda, we have certification of residency, and we also have minutes for approval of January 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Mr. Chair, make a motion that we approve the consent agenda and the minutes as presented.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. With that being said, we'll be at